Hey, good morning.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Is it 9 o'clock by you now?
It's 9:10.
So the time change has gone through then because it's 7:10 by me now.
Oh
Yes.
my God. That's awful.
Ah, all right, very cool, very cool. So I have to set my alarm a little earlier.
Oh boy. Sorry about that.
No, it's all good. I'm almost always usually up way before this anyway.
Yeah,
But I have it just in case. Sometimes I sleep late for whatever reason.
yeah.
So
Well, it's so strange. I know that there's a reason for it. It's just I guess because some people, if we didn't do daylight savings time, they would be getting sunrise at 4:30 in the morning.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
That wouldn't be fun.
yeah,
I could not imagine that. No.
yeah. It just makes it a little bit more fluid. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Um, okay, so what have I done the last couple of days? I didn't get anything done on my um, oh, what do you call it? On the module.
No
Uh,
worries.
I've just been trying to focus on this, meeting with the teachers next Tuesday, or the principal, I should say. Um,
What did you get to meet with the teachers?
no, I didn't.
Ah,
No, the only thing we had was we got a phone call back from the principal, the two principals. They have the regular one and then the assistant principals.
mm,
And
mm.
I'll be honest with you, they didn't, there's no way that they're going to see CJ's side of it or my points.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, they don't want to. They don't want to. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
They have no intent. Did not get to meet with the teacher and I probably won't because they are backing her 100%.
Yeah.
So,
Regardless of evidence.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
So I
interesting.
have to figure out a way to when I go because they want to meet with CJ and I Tuesday morning. Actually, I wanted to because I just said the only way I'm going to bring him back to school is if I get to talk to somebody because I need to go. I need to square it away. So does he. I need to know that he can go to school safely without threat of this happening again. Um,
Yeah,
then they said, well, that's just up to him. No, it's also up to you guys too. Don't look. And here's the thing, Sil. I know
yeah.
that they are accustomed to placing emphasis on the worst. They,
Yes, yes.
they got
Yeah,
this already, where they are placing emphasis on the worst. They are not in any way looking for anything good to come from him. And when it does, they're just taking it for granted or that he's supposed to do it and then don't say, hey, good work this week. We didn't have any incidences.
yeah.
So
It's a sad reality, unfortunately. Where the emphasis is on don't, not on do. So, it's messed up. It's messed up, in other words.
So I've been trying to come up with, we've been talking about it, little bits and pieces here and there on how to, what you and I were talking about the other day, because maybe I'm still not quite fully understanding it, how to just sit with knowing that just you are right, that you're right, and how to sit with that in grace and
Yeah,
without being smug, without being, insolent or anything like that. So,
yeah.
um,
All
I
right.
don't,
So, what's that? Say again?
I was just saying, so that's kind of where I am is trying to figure that piece out.
Yeah, yeah. So this whole issue of being right, we can think of it as justice or fairness as well. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
And we have to be very, very careful of not falling into the justice trap. This is an old term, comes from Wayne Dyer, actually, way back when in the 70s from his first book. I just remember the one thing from that book. That was a chapter called The Justice Trap.
Okay.
And essentially the point is that good people get hung up on justice and it
Yeah.
can ruin their lives
Okay.
because the injustice is unfortunately just a part of reality. And in the context of awareness, now this wasn't part of what he said, but that's all he said really. He said, don't fall into that trap. to be at peace with the fact that there is injustice in the world doesn't make you a bad person, right? And
Okay.
insisting on justice every time you see injustice is simply going to make you at loggerheads with the world and ruin your life. When it comes your way and you have to deal with it, then you deal with it. Other than that, be at peace with it.
Okay. Okay.
It's a very big point, though. It's a huge point. I'm simplifying it to a large extent, but this is a massive big deal. And you really can look around how, this is inappropriate application of goodness, right? When it
Yes.
comes to justice and being right, same thing.
Yes.
Yes? Or
Yes.
fair. That's it. The world isn't. And there has to be an ability to be unjust and unfair. Otherwise, you won't really be free, right? So it's a part of awareness, part of choice that we have this ability. So we give it due respect when we see it and we say, well, here's somebody exercising their options to actually do things which make no sense, which are wrong, which are unjust, which are unfair. Yes.
Okay.
So when we understand it in that context, it's now a whole different ballgame. So furthermore, part of impeccability is giving due respect. Due. That word due is a huge word. So when I'm in the jungle and the lion wants to eat me, I give the lion due respect and I, make sure to GTFO, yes?
Yes.
And
Yes.
to avoid the lion, in other words, and to take appropriate measures. Now,
Right.
in the classroom, in the school, we have to give due respect. Yeah, the teachers, the principals, well, they're more like hyenas here, but okay, poor hyenas get a bad rap, but nonetheless,
Okay.
we have to respect them the same way as I would respect the gang leader if I go into the bad part of town.
Right.
Yeah, they're a gang. That's it. No different to the gang that's, down in the bad side. No different. The same psychology. And they've got their power. They're looking to maintain their power, and they get very uppity and fussy and bothered when their power is questioned. And that's exactly what's happened
Yeah.
with both you and CJ. It's not just CJ. It's you also.
Yes, I know.
Yeah. So
Yeah. I was trying
so
to figure out why
the
we could do this.
when and they know they're full of crap. So the more you come with being right, the more they're going to resist. And is this a war you can win?
No.
And don't see. Then you give due respect. You either go elsewhere or you say fine, and you learn to, like CJ. He's the one who's got to deal with them. He learns to switch off completely whatever feelings he has about that teacher. Yeah. He doesn't
Okay.
hate her. He doesn't like her. He just does whatever. That's it.
Okay.
Now, this is an incredible skill. If he can manage to do this, to set aside what he thinks and not think it, this is a part. It's no, you can't suppress it. That's always going to come out. It's got to actually not think it. He's got to be completely neutral when it comes to it, not care one way or the other. Just be neutral. This is a fantastic ability. So, he has massive opportunity to learn something really, really, really fundamental. And also, if you ask him to do unfair things, and that's it, and not care. This is another big skill because life is sometimes going to ask us to do the same. Not because life is being unfair, but because in the bigger picture, you have to do this particular thing and it has consequence, and then the whole thing swirls like behind me, and it all works out good in the end. But you have to be that little part that does your little part. So when it comes to attunement, sometimes we are asked to do things that make no sense to us whatsoever, and we need to learn to act without agenda. It's not an easy thing to do, right?
Okay.
So
Can you go back to like switching off emotions? What does that mean? Is that just being like, CJ, is that something you think you can do? Is switch off how you think about this teacher?
I do that all the time.
You do that all the time?
I
Okay.
can switch off emotions just like that.
Okay.
I like how I'm like angry
Can you hear him?
and then
yeah,
after that I go back to being happy again. Yeah, I can switch emotions really well.
Okay. So if you could switch off emotions, what happened then the morning that all of this occurred? What happened with your emotions that day?
And they went haywire and I couldn't control. So,
Okay,
because I was thinking like I'm right all the time.
okay. Okay. And Phil was just talking about that. Sorry, Phil, he was down here, so I wanted.
No problem. No problem. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Um, So Phil was just talking about how we have to give respect that's due to authority. They're in a position of power and they know that they're not right in this, but they're going to do anything they can to hang on to
Yeah.
their position, you know?
Like if you go to a gang in the gang's territory in the bad part of town, and you have to give them respect. Same logic.
Yeah. So, and so basically what he's saying is he's not saying we have to, it's not a matter of like swallowing your pride. It's just a matter of switching off any of your thoughts and emotions. Just focus in on what, writing your questions down. Remember how we talked about don't ask them out loud right now? Let's just write them down. That's one of the things we came up with in this particular session or this math class is he could just write his questions down and then we can explore them after school. Just because, I mean, she just does not want him to speak, period. So, okay, how do we get around that? Well, I'm just going to have him write his questions down.
There you go.
Basically, do anything and everything he can to not give her a reason to flare up. And then CJ said, well, what if that makes her mad too? What if my not interacting makes her mad?
Yeah. And that's the lesson here. No matter what you do, it's going to have some way make her mad. And this is very powerful. So the bigger lesson is is developing the ability to be able to endure unfairness.
Oh, okay. How did
That's
I
the
miss
lesson. No matter what you do, it's going to be a screw up. You just be as neutral as you possibly can and not care one way or the other. This is a fantastic skill. This is power. This is real power. But you can't show that you have power either, because that will, now you're in a battle. You're not in a battle. You're not in a battle.
Okay. Isn't that, why does that seem like it's exactly like it was in, like, say, my past relationships, where you just have to endure that until the time is when you can exit?
Yes, it is. Except that CJ is going to be doing it with full deliberation and consciousness, willingly.
Okay.
He's going, he doesn't have to, he can homeschool, right? So This is his choice. So there's another lesson, see? Now it becomes a lesson of accepting responsibility for your choices. His choice was to go to school.
Okay.
See? And now, especially, it's his choice to continue going to school, knowing this teacher is there. This teacher's a petty tyrant. And petty tyrants are truly, truly wonderful and magical. They force us to be aware. They force us to be disciplined. They force us to endure. And they force us to have forbearance. They force us to maintain ourselves, to not lose ourselves, to develop self-control, and not to care inappropriately. Yes?
Okay. This is a part of diplomacy, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. It's a very peculiar sort of a diplomacy, because it's kind of a diplomacy by not doing.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
Yeah. So you can think of this as one of the hardest lessons in life, and that is to let others be.
To let others be.
Yeah, let them be. Let them be.
All right.
But what power, right? Okay. So think of a past situation that you were in that would be analogous. Right now, in your situations, it was full immersion, which is that makes it and put us on a whole different level, right? But nonetheless, so think of a situation that would be kind of the similar, like let's say you had to go and interact with somebody, and you had to do so for whatever, an hour a day, like CJ. Yep.
Yeah, well, the one that's coming to mind right now that's a real good example was the situation between when we were in the gauntlet with Robbie and Miles.
Go. There you go.
That was one of the things where I had to just put up and shut up.
There you go. Exactly. Now, the skill is to do so without any resentment whatsoever.
Oh,
No.
okay.
So this is the same for CJ. When I said have no feelings one way or the other, and I mean it absolutely. No resentment, no anger, no annoyance, no botheration, no thoughts of unfairness. It's like whatever she does, it's yes, ma'am, and you do it, no matter how ridiculous or absurd it is. If she says you're wrong, and you just okay, and you go and whatever, you stand in the corner or whatever the hell she wants you to do. That's it. You just do whatever she does without commentary inside you. Never mind outside, inside you. This is the trick, not outside. That's easy to shut up and say nothing. It's the internal commentary that's the issue. So this is a skill really of quieting the mind and being in control, which comes in useful in almost every other aspect. But it's a skill we never learn as children.
No internal commentary. That's the important one right there.
That's the key. That's the absolute. Can you imagine the power you would have had in your situations if you were to be able to turn off that internal commentary?
Yes. Yes. Well, we never would have met.
Exactly. It would have changed everything. Furthermore, the moment that teacher realizes that, he's just like a piece of furniture that she's moving around, right? The same result for her. All of her power goes away internally. Not that you stealing it, she's not going to hold it against him, but you don't get mad at the desk when you move it around and it just moves. It doesn't give you anything. Now you're spending energy on this thing when you didn't need to spend energy, right? There's absolutely nothing in it for her. And that's the point of turning off the commentary, right? So think of those people that were in terms of being in power with you. If you had removed that, they would have, well, there's no real point here, right? Because that's what feeds them.
Right.
The resentment, the anger, the botheration, the stress, the unhappiness, the hurt. This is what feeds them. Yes.
Okay.
Does it make sense, Sher?
It does. It does.
Okay.
So this can almost be.
So you're a little soft, Sher.
Oh, I'm sorry. Would this almost be like ethical manipulation?
It is, but this is the manipulation of all manipulations. Because
Okay.
like I said, they must have absolutely no idea of what's going on. So you cannot hide this. There's
Right.
no hiding it. So you cannot have anything to hide. The only way to hide it is to not have it.
Okay.
Yes?
Okay.
You know this. You know this from your own experience. You can't hide anything, yes?
Right.
But if you don't have it, then it's not there to hide.
Okay. Okay.
Ah,
This is
so,
beautiful.
right. So all of this, I am very, very keen that you see how much it is a gift to you as well.
Yes.
CJ is fulfilling a gift for you. It's a gift for CJ, absolutely an incredible gift for him. But him is also a gift for you. So does CJ understand this also?
Yes, he does.
Yeah.
He does.
So he is part of being a gift to you, and you are part of being a gift to him. And this is a magical opportunity. But I'm very keen for CJ to understand that, in terms of the goals of the world, yes, this is a very, very different goal that basically just leapfrogs over all the other goals of the world. Like, for instance, the goal of the world is to be popular. The goal is to get attention, be on TV, be clever, be smart, do something wonderful, be famous, blah, blah, right?
Right.
This accomplishment, if it can be accomplished here, is a goal of the world which basically surpasses all of them and makes them all into nothing. Yes, because now we're looking at true power, not BS power. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So CJ, what he was just talking about was basically, what the goal of this whole thing is. Do you understand what your task is? Are you sure? Can you like express what your task is?
Yeah, please, please.
Okay, he said to be neutral.
Yes, yes. And to accept responsibility for your choices.
So
Complete, full responsibility.
what he means by choices for your responsibility is that you have a choice. You can either homeschool or you can stay going to school, right? And since you're choosing going to school, that's something that it comes with that responsibility of being neutral, of accepting you
Yes.
control your emotions. And then the one thing that he did say that I don't think you heard was no internal commentary. Do you know what that means? That means, the voice inside your head where it's like, I know I'm right. I know I'm right. I'm gonna show them I'm right. All of those thoughts, you have to turn those off.
Yes, yes. And, or any thought that this teacher is stupid, this teacher is idiotic, this teacher is unfair, all of that crap has to go, all of it. So being neutral is being quiet inside.
Can you do that? He's like, yeah.
I know, I realize this, that he needs to be cautious because, yes, he can say, I will try and I will learn, because this is a skill that has to learn. It's not necessarily something we can do automatically. It has to be practiced. So you're going to do it and then you're going to get better at it, better. So yeah, this is a skill that I cannot emphasize how much this is a superpower skill. You want to really be a superhero, learn to turn this off, because you're going to see the world in a whole different way after a while. And this is an incredible skill. This is an incredible skill. It frees us from all the bullshit and crap in the world.
We can practice it just like we do Taekwondo.
Yes, yes. As a matter of fact, if he gets into Taekwondo more and more and more, any martial art, as you start to get really good at martial arts, you listen to the teachers like Bruce Lee and those guys. They're telling you the same thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
They all say the same thing. The moment you're thinking about what you're doing, that's too late already. By that time, you're already smacked in the mouth. So no thinking. You've got to be able to do. And your training gets you to do. So yeah. So this is a skill that applies in everything.
Okay, so here's a good example. Yesterday, during the tournament, CJ, he gave you a command to do whatever basic move, right? And you just thought about it, right? Did you ever feel like you hesitated? You did? Okay. That hesitation, that was probably when your thought entered your mind. Oh, I'm not sure how to do this.
Exactly.
You were just feeling a little nervous. So the next tournament, when you go to another one next month, you're going to have those basics down.
So, and now he was feeling a little nervous.
Yeah.
So what does the nervousness come from? It comes from internal commentary.
Oh, very good.
Because what is nervousness but the commentary? It's so one little idiot inside you there that's saying, a heckler saying, yeah, but maybe you can't do this. But it's just Mr. Maybe popping up. So
okay.
Yeah. So nervousness is completely 100% commentary. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. You know inside yourself if you can or can't do it. If somebody said jump off the cliff and fly, there's no thought to it. I can't do this. But things that you otherwise you just do it. If you don't do it 100%, so bloody what? That's the commentary again. The commentary is the thing that says, yeah, but, and so what, and it cares, and it's got, that's it. Turn off the damn commentary and just do. That's it. You don't care how you look. You don't care how it is. That's it. This is the other value of this exercise, right, with a teacher. You're going to learn to completely demolish self-importance.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah. In other words, you can't be, but I'm too good for this and I'm going to be made to look stupid. You don't care if you're made to look stupid. What a power. What a power. Yes?
This is cool. Do you understand?
You don't care. You don't care.
He's like, yeah, he gets it.
Yeah. This is about power, CJ. This is about real power, not about the power of bullies, not about the power of the teacher and the principal. That's bullshit power. This is about power of self, which is real power. Yes, to have the power to not care, to have the power to be able to switch off that commentary, which is again not caring inappropriately, right? There's inappropriate caring, which is a major fact in the world. It screws everything up.
Yeah.
So when we have this ability to not care inappropriately, not care about the bullshit of the world, we've got real power.
Wait, you did a post on that the other day. It's what? What did you say? He's rapping over here. He knows that there's a statement he knows about power in a rap. What did you say?
Yeah.
What did you say? Can you say it?
I can
Can you say it?
I can play it.
Okay, what is it? It's about self-power.
No. Ready?
Okay. Are you ready?
2 seconds. Okay, never mind.
Okay, what was it that you said? What was it you said? Okay. Everything you have to say is important to me. Okay? What is he saying? Okay, well, the thing is you're not, okay, it's not, no, that kind of doesn't fit. It's not about angry. It's not an angry power.
No.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, it sounds to me like they're talking about angry power.
Yeah.
Well,
If it's rap, it's likely angry power. So
yeah, a lot of times it is, kiddo.
yeah. I mean, that whole culture, the rap culture, is all about angry power. So I'd be very surprised if we found something in it that isn't about angry power. This is all about dominance and being tough. And no, we're not talking about this. That's bullshit power. The whole rap culture and hip hop culture is all about bullshit power.
Well, that's what really. You know what's cool? I just discovered this yesterday. And I'm gonna find the book, but his Taekwondo master, he actually wrote a book, and it's called Bully Proof. And I looked it up, and it's on Amazon, and it's a pretty good seller.
Yeah.
But he wrote a book called Bully Proof, and it was just for kids, because of course he does teach a lot of children. And the biggest reason that these parents are putting their kids into Taekwondo is to defend themselves against bullies.
Yeah.
I got CJ in because I needed to build his confidence. I wanted him to build his self-worth.
Yeah.
So this is a lesson that can really be pulled into his self-worth, I believe. For grandma, it's also a very big lesson in this whole thing that you're talking about as well, about turning off the internal commentary.
Yes, that's the thing that messes us up. That's the thing that messes us up. Yes.
Really, really. Turn it down, please. Turn it down, please, CJ. I can't hear. Thank you. You can use your headphones again. Okay. So what I was trying to do, and I don't know why, but I feel like me trying to make connections, but the questions that were in that panel that I had gotten to, let me see if I'm going to pull them up really quick. And I'm sorry for sounding so nasally. This cold is really getting on top of me.
No problem. Don't worry me in the least. No problem.
I guess quite a few people around here are getting this, and I had no idea. So I think what I'm also going to have to do before I pull up those questions is I'm just going to have to tell myself to drop it where it is, right? And just develop the safety plan, go in there, get him back in, and just keep working with CJ and ignore the rhetoric from the authority. Is that what you're?
Yeah, exactly. It's just, it's like, it is what it is, and that's it. It's his choice to go there, and he's got to make the best of his choice, and that's the end of that.
Okay. All right.
Simple.
Right. So let's go back to that one question where it says, can we cue an expectation of logic and reason? And how would I do this? We can, but I don't think that's going to happen in this particular situation, is it? Not with the principal. Um, did I lose you?
No, I'm here. I'm listening. Not with the principal, he said, yeah.
Yeah. Well, could I cue an expectation of logic and reason? I would like to.
Yes, yes, you can try. You can try. You know, sometimes a try is a gesture. And a
Right.
gesture is something, you know, capital G gesture that you do knowing that your odds are against you, grossly against you. And that likely it's a waste of time, but you try it anyway. And this is very powerful. Again, you're doing it without any expectations. And
Right.
that's part of the lesson here is to unhook from expectations. We expect people to be rational and fair. Yes. And this is a great mistake because then when they aren't, they screw you over. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's what I was expecting. I was expecting that they were adults and they would be rational and fair.
Exactly.
You're right. We weren't listening to what he was really asking and saying. Instead, we were listening to what we wanted, which was
Correct.
control a
Correct.
child.
Exactly. Your internal commentary, your internal chat dominated your perspective and corrupted it and distorted it and prevented you from seeing what is actually there. Correct?
Okay.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah. And that again, see, is absolutely critical for capital D diplomacy to see what is there, not what we want it to be there.
Okay. Hold on a second. I want to write that down. We want to see. Can you say that again, please?
The key to capital D diplomacy is to see what's actually there, not what we want to be there.
Okay. What's actually there? Boy, if we did that, if everybody did that, we wouldn't have any problems, would we?
Exactly.
But not everybody's willing to be there.
Nope. Because they hook to things like, for instance, if I see all the badness, that proves how good I am. So their egos get them to do all this nonsense.
Okay.
So that's the big thing for CJ, to unhook from his ego, to not do things motivated by ego.
Okay. And that's where he's coming from. Even though he may be well within reason.
It's still an ego issue.
Yes.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Okay. All right.
The fact that he can make a good case for his ego, this is great because it disguises the fact that it's ego. It's all about being right. It's all about justice and fairness. Bullshit. You know, it's about ego, right?
All right.
That's it. You know, yes, the justice in that may be a factor and an issue, and certainly it is, but that's not the real point. The real point is ego. So, you know, and this is, the teachers recognize this, that this is a battle of egos. And in this situation, they can't allow him to win because it will collapse the whole school.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah.
They would have to rethink their entire policy.
They would completely be destroyed, and all the kids would be like CJ in their minds. Not, they won't actually, but in there, and then there'll be no school, no system, nothing would work. They don't have the imagination to imagine a school full of CJs. So yes, you know, so to them, this is an existential threat. CJ is an existential threat because he's that virus that they afraid will infect the entire school. Yeah. But because if he succeeds and wins with an ego battle, every other kid that has the same ego thing, and most of the school is full of them, they will all start doing the same thing. And so it's a very real threat that they face.
Okay.
The whole school's authority will completely implode. And already their authority is very shaky.
Yeah. Oh, it is. It most definitely is. But it's one of those things I'm going to have to, like you said, I'm just going to have to do this without that internal commentary.
Yes. To deliberately do what we know is wrong in the smaller bubble for the sake of the bigger bubble. This is a powerful skill. It's a powerful skill.
What do you mean no is wrong? In other words, to just do what we're being asked to do?
Yeah, suck up their shit. That's it. You know, it's like, yeah, whatever, you know, but you're not even going, yeah, whatever, because yeah, whatever's got attitude. It's yes, sir, yes, ma'am, no problem. That's it.
Yeah.
You know, not even saying that too, just do it. You know, not even any commentary, even verbally, anything, just doing it. And it is what it is. That's it. And you don't care one way or the other. It's just, it's part of life. It's like the weather. You don't, well, people like to complain about the weather, but that's because they're silly, right? But again, the sun is shining, it's raining. It's like, all right, it is what it is. I enjoy it no matter what. I do as appropriate. Okay, if it's raining, I put on my raincoat. If it's not, then see, you just act appropriately. That's it. End of story. No commentary.
Okay, so that kind of reminds me, it goes back to that quote that you gave me last week, where our job is not to convince, but to provide options that are viable, desirable, and realistically attainable.
Exactly. But yeah, the principal and the teacher, they have no options. They don't know. They've got, so to find options for them would be that would be a really good thing. So, give them the option, say, look, you just do your thing and just ignore CJ and you'll be no trouble. That's it.
Okay. Well, that's what the safety plan is coming in with. That I have to develop by, Tuesday morning, which I already have it. I'm just trying to figure out the best way to lay it out so that they understand that this is what they follow. Anytime he is to that point where he cannot turn off his internal dialogue, when his ego has overrun him, he's not doing it with malice. It doesn't happen for him that way. It's coming from hate. It's coming to hear me.
Yeah.
And that's where his traumatized younger self is coming from.
Right.
Not his 11-year-old self, but his 4 or 5
exactly. And look at the power of what is being recommended here, right? She just said, yeah, but they didn't hear me. And from your clients, right? And just looking around you, people later in life, how traumatic it is for them that they have not ever been heard.
Right.
The whole coaching industry is basically premised on this. They don't know it exactly, but this is it, right? They hear people and that's it, right? Well, or at least they sort of hear people. But if they were to truly hear them, that's it. That's all you need to do. That's what the whole hearing and helping is all about, right? Actually really hearing people, and then that's the therapy right there. It's all solved. Now, what I'm recommending for CJ is to learn not to care about being heard. Being heard is an ego thing.
Learn not to care about being heard. Okay.
In other words, develop independence of being. If you hear me or you don't, so what do I care? I'm independent within myself. I have my own self-control. I'm content. I'm contained within myself. I'm cool no matter what you do. Whether you hear me or not, it's totally irrelevant. This is the power of independence of being. Yes?
Okay. So now my question here, though, is developmentally, is that okay for him at this age? I'm not
absolutely. Why? Because he's developing the ability to not care about being heard. He has the opportunity to be heard with you.
Right. He does.
So, but now it's two things. Yes, to be heard is valuable because you get the chance for feedback and takeaways coming back at you and the opportunity to share and collaborate and grow and learn. Yes, but it's the caring about it that becomes the pathology.
Okay.
See?
Yes.
That's okay. Because the caring says that I have to have it, which is an ego nonsense.
Okay. All right. Okay. And have to is ego.
Yes, I have to have it. I have to have it.
That's
ego. It's come on, you don't have to have it. Nonsense,
All right.
So this fact that people feel unheard, they've created it themselves through this false agenda that they believe they should. And it's all just self-importance. See? I'm not heard. Well, my self-importance is now being dented and pressured in that. If you don't have self-importance, well, okay, I didn't get hurt, so what? See?
Okay.
To again, to be heard is sort of implies egos behind it. To share and collaborate, this is a different thing. See? Like you, when you make your posts, if anybody reads it or not, it doesn't matter. You get value out of your post because it's a sharing. You're not looking to get heard, a different agenda. Maybe when you started, yes, but now it's shifted. See?
Yeah, when I first started, yes, it was to be heard. And now it's like, well, I hope you get something from it. If not,
exactly.
I did.
And if you don't, then I'm getting something out of it. I'm getting tremendous amount out of it. If you get something that's bonus, but it
Yeah.
doesn't matter. And that's the magic. That's where you've unhooked from this. And being heard is no longer a pressure because your ego has shifted into something else. You're seeing the bigger picture. So it's very cool. It's a real power. I mean, look at the power for you that's become from being freed from being heard. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. It's the need to get heard. That's the issue. Need, not getting heard itself. Getting heard itself is a marvelous gift, but it's a gift. It's not a need. The moment it's a need, it's a pathology. Yes.
Okay. Okay. I'm following that.
The need is what causes the illness, the sickness, the problem of getting hurt, the corruption, right? And that's ego. That's ego.
Oh, you know how many people, how many memes and posts that I've read where we all need to be heard. Do
Yep.
we? Okay. We
Yep,
don't.
yep.
do it
But
because-
that's the culture of the world, is an ego culture.
Ooh.
Oh.
Well, that's the whole cause of this war.
So make sure that CJ understands this. This is a big point. This is not a small point for one day, one moment where he's, oh, yes, I understand this.
Yeah.
This is the point that needs to be repeated over and over. You're living in an entire world where this is. You know, everything is built around us. You get medals, you get awards, you get ranks, you get gears, you know, whatever. You know, it's all about satisfying the ego. You know, for people who truly want to learn, they care about learning and they go from, okay, white belt to yellow and whatever, because this is a measure of progress. They don't care that they have some accomplishment. It's not an ego thing, right? They just care about the learning. They know there's never an end to it. So they know it's kind of meaningless in the longer term, right? But it's
Right.
the caring about that stuff which causes the problem. So we have to be very, very cautious of caring. Caring can really screw you up.
Yeah, Ken.
Yeah.
I've
So it's
learned
all
that.
about appropriate caring, right?
Yeah, I've learned that.
Exactly. This is the major big lesson for you also. Absolutely.
Yeah, it is.
Absolutely. Yeah. You know, we care about justice. We care about being right. That's going to screw you over. Yeah. Doesn't mean that you don't care and you say, well, fuck it, you know, let the world be. No, it's just being appropriate and understanding the world is what it is. And you've got to make do and develop your things that make it right for you. And if everybody did this, then we'd have a very cool world. Yes.
Yeah, especially if we just applied the effort.
Yeah.
If we put in
exactly.
the effort to just
Exactly.
basically,
Exactly.
that's why I always keep going back to if we just understand and if we practice using those tools. Now I understand why you were saying we have to practice. Yeah, because it's always practiced.
Exactly. Exactly. And that's the key. Be careful of asking CJ if he understands, because, you know, it's going to take a while for that understanding to be fully. Make sure he understands what he needs to practice. And he understands that it's going to be more or less at first. Like same with the taekwondo. You know, they do the physical exercise and you, oh, okay, I'm more or less, and you think you sort of got it, but you realize not really. But then as you practice, you get better at it. So this is entirely, the going to school is entirely about practice, which means you are day in, day out, going in there and you're getting it wrong. You're getting it wrong, but you're getting it a little less wrong every day. That's what practice is.
Okay.
Right? When you go to taekwondo and he goes to taekwondo practice, compared to the taekwondo master, I mean, it's like, come on, seriously, this is miles away. But that doesn't put you off. You practicing doing the wrong thing, slightly less wrong every day, correct?
Yeah, and as a matter of fact, he even points that out. He points out, you know, when you're corrected, we're not correcting you. We're showing you, you know, what you can improve on, what you can do better.
Exactly. It's not an ego thing. Exactly. Exactly.
He has the students, you know, he'll pair them off with a yellow belt or even a green or a, you know, blue belt, whatever. But he'll pair the younger students off with kids who are more advanced. And then they judge each other, you know. Well, they critique or judge or whatever word.
And exactly. What a powerful lesson. There's no meanness, no necessary. They're just being accurate. So that's it. If you suck, you suck. That's it. Accept it.
Yep.
Yes, I suck. And okay, it's not about sucking. I don't yet know how to do this. That's it. That's the point. So it's all about practice is about constant improvement. It's not about being wrong. It's not about being stupid. No, it's about constant improvement. And in order to improve, it means that whatever you're doing is you understand it needs improvement. You accept this. It's not
Yeah.
an ego issue if you get it wrong. There is no wrong, really. You're just learning how to do it. It's not wrong. You're just learning. That's it.
I really appreciate in that class how every single child in there is an equal, regardless of their age or their belt color.
Nice.
Every single one of them are
Yeah.
equal.
Yeah,
Because even
exactly.
if a white belt, like say CJ, he's got white with 2 stripes or something, but
Yeah.
it just means that, he's learned something.
Yeah.
He learned a form or a basic or something. But then he will be critiquing and helping assist to judge a yellow belt. And, if they don't vote for the yellow belt, they vote for another yellow belt or something. And they'll say, well, okay, here's where, what we saw that you could improve on. And it'd be like, okay, your thumb on your block wasn't, X, Y, or Z.
Right. It's about accuracy. It's about accuracy. It's got nothing to do with whether you're a good person, a bad person, clever, wonderful. No, it's just about you can do it or not. And the story, and some can, some can't, some can't physically do all of those movements. So, all right, well, can't. That's it.
It's so strange to watch all these kids come in, though. Even the adults, nobody walks in there and they leave their ego outside.
Yes, that's just a magical thing. This is a very, very magical thing.
Ego is left outside before they even come in. They bow, and everybody is humble and ready to learn.
Yeah, the moment the ego comes into it, you start getting to be a bully of some kind.
So maybe I can give him that example of, the way you are, that mindset that you have in class, you can do the same thing at school.
Yes, that's it.
Enter the classroom, leave the ego out in the hallway.
Yep, it's do without commentary. Just do. Yeah. That's it. Yeah. Don't think I can't, what, how, just do. That's it. Do or don't do. That's it, but do.
Okay. Wow. See, and I do the same thing with my writing when you're talking about practice. School is practice. Well,
yes.
It's the same
thing. Yes. So when you're doing your moves, do them ugly. And then you come later in the critique thing, that's when you add it pretty.
Yes.
Same logic. When it comes to doing, don't just completely remove whether I'm doing it good or not. The more you do, there is your internal innate tendency is automatically to approve, right?
Yes.
So doing is improving. The two go together.
Okay.
And the more you do, you automatically start improving your doing. Automatically. It's just because you do it more energy efficiently, you do it more fluidly, and because you've learned how, and then you can, the obvious is, oh, well, this is a little better. Oh, obviously, but you only will see the obvious to improve when you're doing.
Okay.
Right? If you're just sitting there thinking about it, no, you're not actually doing, so you won't ever see those ways to improve. But just do, and it will automatically come. So same thing as write ugly, edit pretty. Practice ugly, critique pretty.
Okay.
It's not critique, it's editing. That's what it is. It's editing. It's tweaking. It's fine tuning. When they give each other feedback, that feedback is editing. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So same thing. Practice ugly, edit pretty.
So if we go, the second question here, or actually, maybe it's the second one, but it says take any problem and list all contexts in which it's applied and connected to. That particular one there, are you talking about, say, just take a situation that I've been involved in? Let's even take this one here, this current one. List all the contexts in which it's applied and connected to. Are you talking about, maybe what were some of the background influencing factors? What are some of the current factors? What is my mindset? Am I immersed in a bubble? Is that what you're talking about?
Let me go and actually read the question. Sometimes when I hear them, they don't quite stick.
Okay.
Any problem, yours or another's, and list. Is this the one? All the context in which it applies and is connected to?
Yes, that's it.
Yeah. So this is any problem. So this could apply to this. It's exactly what we've been doing now.
Okay.
We're looking at this in the context that, like for instance, in the looking at the problem of the teachers and the principals, right?
Yes.
Their problem is the threat to their entire existence.
Yes, I agree.
So we shifted context to see it. Oh my God, if they have CJ win, because this is unfortunately a big part of American psychology or psychosis, is win at all costs. If CJ wins, then what? Then all the other kids are gonna win this, come with ego battles, and the next thing it's all bloody over, because well, they know they don't have the skills to deal with the kids, and they know they're not the smartest.
Right. Okay, and we can't, because then that will send them into an existential crisis, basically, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Their whole worldview would collapse as they know it.
Exactly. And they know that they're not really equipped. So there's another thing here to understand, that this teacher has not been trained properly. Not only has she been not received sufficient training, she's received training that is detrimental training. She's been trained negatively. For instance, this whole winning is everything. Society and culture has trained her to be totally inappropriate for the job.
Right.
Right. And she's come to be aware that this is so.
Oh, okay.
Exactly. Now we start to bring in the capital D diplomacy, consideration, and compassion. It's like, holy shit, I don't want to be you, teacher. Yes, you may be nasty and mean, but man, what's going on inside you? What a horror show to realize that you are incompetent to do even such a fairly simple job.
Yeah. Well, I don't think that, well, okay, this is that internal dialogue. I'm going to share it with you. My thoughts have been, perhaps they have not been keeping themselves up to date on how today's children are different, how children today know that they do have the capability to reason and to critically think and to think for themselves outside of the box. That's one thing that CJ has been really latching on to, is critical thinking. He's been processing things through and thinking them through to the end, but then he lets his emotions, that of ego, will take a hold of him and say, no, I'm right, I'm right.
Exactly.
So now that's what he's got to keep practicing, right?
Yes, exactly. He has to unhook from the ego logic of the world.
Right.
This is a major corruption that will screw you up big time.
Then my mama bear claws come out and go, you know what? You are right. I can see this. I can see that you are right. And I go to defend him. And then I get caught in that same loop of, I know he's right. We're both right. You guys are not seeing the bigger picture, blah, blah, blah.
Okay. And it becomes a war.
Yeah.
Is it every war about who's right?
Yes, it is. Exactly. It is.
Exactly.
Both sides feel that they're right.
And that's the thing. See, it was this, like in Ukraine, this fight over hang on one second.
Oh, Putin's demands are just absolutely insane.
Yeah.
But that's my opinion. I feel like he needs to just step off and let Ukraine be.
So, like I said before, people are all cheering all the Ukrainians for fighting. But if they had simply said, yeah, we don't want you here, and but we're going to stand in your way, passive resistance, then they would have changed the whole dialogue, and they would have won without fighting, right?
Well, yes and no, but I mean, they were actually the Russians just rolled in at like 4:30 in the morning, and started shelling them, started bombing them, and that's when they came out fighting. Before that,
but they already knew it was coming. That's my point. They could have been prevented before that. But anyway, still, the point I'm making is that, like I said before, the moment that Granny picks up the gun, the Russian shoulder's forced to shoot her.
Yeah.
That's the thing. When you start fighting, then you legitimize the other fighting, no matter how wrong they are. That
Yeah.
Russian soldier may personally think this is completely and utterly wrong, but now he's dealing with, well, it's more wrong for me to get shot. Sorry, Granny, I don't want to do this, but I have no choice. You remove choice when you fight. See?
Right. Okay.
And you legitimize somebody's wrongness when you fight them. Right? You validate.
You know
The
what?
moment you fight them, you make it valid.
I had to let that sink in for a second because it's like, yeah, I've been doing that.
Yeah.
I have been doing that. Yeah.
So this is the art of fighting without fighting. I have a little mini book and I really need to write it out. I spent loads and loads of time on this. The art of fighting without fighting. It is ridiculously powerful. It is ridiculously powerful. Yeah.
Well, okay. I'll be looking for that one, Phil. Seriously. Because it's important.
I need to write. It's a big deal.
What are the contexts of their position? Okay. Sorry, I was writing a note.
And as we can use strategy, we can use skill, we can use context shifting, we can use, the easiest way to defeat an enemy, or the most certain way to defeat an enemy is to make them your friend.
Yes.
So many ways to resolve the problem without fighting. Fighting is really a poor thing to do because really, nobody wins with fighting. Yeah.
I have to tell you this. CJ did try that, the making the friend. He tried making them an ally and he tried for like 3 weeks. And it's like the teacher was relentless. She would not stop.
Right. Now, if CJ has the vibe that he's doing this and it's basically, this is how I'm going to win this. It's not, if he's got any idea in his head about win or looking cool or, being superior, being cool, being whatever, anything of that nature is continuing the war. Yeah. That's why I said no commentary. It's the neutrality. It's the no commentary. It's not about being cool. It's not about being clever. You got to set all of that aside. It's about being nothing.
Okay. Just completely neutral.
The teacher saw that this is a strategy on his part to win the war. And so she just went and resisted it, right?
Okay. Yep. She did.
Yeah.
She did. Yeah, because even when he wasn't, when he was trying to do the right thing, like raise his hand, okay, he didn't call on me, but then it got to a point where, he had had enough. And so that's when we just said, hell with it. She's going to do what she's going to do.
Exactly. All of those were ego battles.
Okay.
Right? Yes, you were right, but it's still an ego battle. The right is just convenient for you that you have right on your side to prove this. Now you make it about being right, but really it's about ego. You're just using being right to prove your ego point. And they are seeing that the bigger picture, because if you succeed in the ego battle and they lose, the whole school implodes and they can't have this.
Okay. So how do, all right. So this is actually a question for both of us then. If we take this neutral stance, not if, but when we take this neutral stance and we start practicing, we're getting better at it. At what point then do we stop? If they are not accepting of this and they're looking for a fight, at what point do we stop and speak up for ourselves?
At that point is the point where you leave the school.
Okay, that's what I thought. Yeah.
Right, because, some things, it's not about fighting the battle. It's about understanding that, is this a battle I really want to fight? Is it worth it? No. Do you need to fight it? No, you don't. Right. So that's the point where you leave. Now, if you're going to be there, you're going to be there because of your choice and you're going to be there on their terms, right? Okay. Yep. Due respect. That's it. That's it. You know what they're about. Don't try and change them now. They've shown they're resistant to change. And you clearly see this is, you can subtly, maybe there, there are many ways that we can introduce subtle change. This is possible, but it's a big process. You're looking to re-educate these people. right now. If they're going to come on Wave Impeccability or, come on coaching and classes, but again, you see, to re-educate them, you see what's involved. This is a massive, time-intensive, energy-intensive project. Are they up for this? No. So the little things that may change here and there, yes, they can make a difference sometimes, but understand what you're up against. So it's just being appropriate. That's it.
Right.
And sometimes being appropriate is not being there. Yeah. I mean, if
Okay.
the entire Ukraine country had said, okay, you want to take a country, fine, we'll go elsewhere. And
Right.
and they all just left. Literally, let's say every single person left. Then what?
Yeah.
Okay, now you've got a country, and well, now you've got to, do all the stuff and maintain the stuff, and you're occupying what? Okay, what's in it for you now?
Right.
The whole thing becomes farcical. So
Yeah. Well, and it looks like that's what's about ready to happen. Most of the
exactly.
got
But
almost
still, though, it's an opportunity. Take it as the opportunity to deal with petty tyrants,
okay.
because life is full of petty tyrants. And if we have the skill to basically not care and not have ego and say, whatever, it's like, yeah, all right, you're going to be unfair. It is what it is, and you just do and you act, and it doesn't bother you one way or the other. You just do. You just act. You just
Okay.
act. That's it. No right, no wrong, no fair, no unfair. You just act. That's it.
Okay.
Powerful skill. Powerful, powerful, powerful skill. Yes.
God, it truly is. And so this is like accepting the terms and conditions on when you're downloading a computer program or something, and it says, "Do you accept the terms and conditions?"
Exactly. You're going in there willingly. So it's
Okay.
like that super agent or the undercover detective that goes into the jail to expose the criminals in the jail, right? And he has to do it from the inside. And
Right.
that agent is in jail, but they don't suffer being in jail. Because they're
Okay.
yes.
Yes.
That's
Okay.
the responsibility. I'm here because I chose to be. So whatever happens, I chose it. Nobody's putting it on me. I'm putting it on myself. When we put it on ourselves, it doesn't stink as much. It's not as unpleasant. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. We can
Okay.
handle it. We can endure it. We can have that forbearance and the discipline to hold tight. This is the other point, right? It's to hold himself tight, to have that discipline. And the discipline is about not caring.
Okay. And you're not.
Deliberately.
This isn't not caring as in you don't care what happens to other people. This is a different kind
Exactly.
of.
It's about not caring inappropriately. It's not. It's
Okay.
about not caring about the bullshit. Exactly.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. In
And
other
so
words,
it's switching off the ego. That internal commentary is just ego.
yeah. There's that old expression about you might remember it, right? Like, I got your number, man. It's like I know I can see what you're doing. Okay.
Exactly.
All right. That's where you're coming
from. And the teachers have his number.
Yeah, they do.
They know, even though he's right, it's still an ego battle.
Yep.
And so it doesn't matter that he's right. What matters is the ego battle. They cannot afford to let him win it. So once he understands that, then the whole situation will change as well. You
Not a
respect. You respect.
not a very aware
You
group of
respect.
teachers. This is probably internal dialogue that, from my perspective, I'm not seeing them as a very aware group of people, these
Yeah.
teachers in authority, because if they're willing to just immediately jump into a fight instead of trying to understand or help a student, I just went, wow, where's your maturity level? What are you thinking?
It's non-existent. But here's the thing, right? No matter how unaware creatures are, they understand hierarchy. Lions, hyenas, chickens all understand hierarchy. They live by it.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah. So their hierarchy is challenged, and what do? They peck on his head. It's as simple as that. It's like, no, what the hell did you expect? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's like this, I want to write this as a science fiction story where, they transfer your consciousness of the typical do-gooder, right? Who's like, everybody's equal. And they say, fine, okay, we're going to give you a lesson here. And they transfer their consciousness into a chicken. And so now the story is about, Chicken Little, the real Chicken Little, this person, chicken, a feel-good chicken, right? And equality, and they try and make friends with all the other chickens, and they treat them as equals. And the more they treat them as equals, the more they get picked on, and the more they treat them as equals, the lower down, and they eventually end up at the very bottom, right? And they just completely devastated. But I was just loving them. I was trying to help them. They don't fucking understand. There's no equality in chicken land, right? They see it as a weakness, and they're going to pick on your head. And this is it. So you get your head picked on, and you're not learning, right? You got to deal with things and give them due respect. You're dealing with creatures that are purely hierarchical. They are chicken. You're dealing with a chicken mindset, right? That's it. In chicken land, there's no sensibility. There's no fairness. That's it. It's peck or get pecked on. End of story. Simple. Yes.
Yeah, I was writing that down. Chicken mindset. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
It really does.
That's it. So, again, I don't know if you've ever had chickens.
No.
But it's a very useful thing to have, to really see them and observe them, or any animal that has this kind of thing. But to watch them, it's fascinating to see how the pecking order goes. You'll see it in any of the bigger horses, dolphins, lions, whatever. They all have the same hierarchy. Any group thing. So. I mean, even animals that aren't groups, solitary animals have it too. They protect their territory, and don't you come in my territory. That's the same thing. They just find a different way where everybody's king of the castle. But if they meet up, then they battle.
There was when I first moved in here, and I'm waiting for him to come back. There was a mockingbird that apparently it makes its nest here. Every year, every spring, it will make its nest, and it's in this tree right out of my window. Well, it was attacking me and everybody else. We would come out of our front door, and the bird would literally attack us because it thought we were a threat to its nest.
Exactly.
It owned this whole entire 8 block of townhouses, according to this bird. He literally I would open up my front door, and he would watch for people to come out. Seriously. And I've got video of this. And as soon as I open up my front door, here he comes dive bombing at me.
Wow.
But people would walk to the laundry room or to the post box, and he would just start diving at their head.
Wow. Now, I wonder if you put whatever food a mockingbird eats, like on a tray, and you put the tray on your hand, and you put it like, above your head like this, right? So that as it attacks you, it sees food. I wonder what would have happened.
I don't know.
If you have the opportunity, it's spring now. Try it.
Yeah. Well, we haven't seen him yet. I'm sure he's going to be showing up though any week.
So try that. Try have him see you and associate you with free food. It might change you from not being a threat to being an ally.
Yeah.
Now you only have to do this a few times, and then you don't want to, because if you get responsible for feeding it, then you become responsible for it. So you can't do it too much.
Wow. Yeah.
Hierarchy is a ridiculous thing. It's an absurdity, and it's kind of an obscenity in a way too. But it came about through competition for scarcity of resources. We understand it. It was as value at some point. Now not. But
okay. So this whole shifting to not caring, is that context shifting or perspective shifting?
Both. I mean, you're looking at it in the context of the teacher in the classroom. Okay, it's about being fair and right, but in the context of them and literally having to survive, because they see, if I can't do this job, who the hell else is going to employ me?
Okay.
Right. So that's they fighting for their literal survival in the bigger context. That teacher. They realize they're an incompetent. They know they're incompetent. Right. And if they fail, if CJ wins, then they're out of a job. And then, well, how's it going to look on my resume in the next job? I likely won't be able to do that either. And then, well, I end up at the bottom of the pile and nobody wants to be at the bottom of the pile. This is existential.
Right. Okay. Well, because I think part of that too, though, you know, behind the scenes, they know that they don't have a very high rating. There's already in this year alone, 150,000 students have been pulled from school to homeschool.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, exactly. And you know, the sad part of the schooling is that, like I said, the teachers are not trained. They are ill-equipped to do the job, and they know it. And this is again, I'm doing a sucky job that I'm completely poorly trained for. I get no support. I get no backup. And to me, it's like the universe is really making the system to fail and implode. I think the American education system is going to do this completely collapse. And that's kind of a good thing, because now you have to say, look, well, the way we did it before, this isn't working. You know, how is a teacher basically at the sort of bottom of the hierarchy of jobs?
Yeah.
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 As a profession, you know, I mean, yes, you've got manual labor and that, which is, you know, lower, but as a profession, teachers like at the bottom. It's like, how in the hell is this possible? It should be, you know, to be a teacher should have more prestige and importance and pay and everything than a doctor, for crikey's sake. You know,
Yeah.
it's more important because without teachers, there are no doctors. So
Exactly.
it's all completely screwed up. So you have to reshift everything. And basically the only way that's going to happen is when the system like this critically implodes. And if everybody's homeschooled, this is going to change. Or, you know, start to say, well, you're looking for income, you know, might be a teacher of a small class that's homeschooled, right? Where other parents, they don't all have the time, but you do. Fine. Now you be that teacher and you teach them appropriately, because you're teaching more than just the subjects, you know, the curriculum stuff. You're teaching way of impeccability.
Yeah. Yeah. Wouldn't that
So
be
you see
great?
what I'm saying? You know, it changes. It changes.
It really does. It does. Okay.
Yeah.
So if I look at the next one where it says, how has the universe used ethical manipulation and queuing on me? This would probably be a very good example. One of the most
Ah,
ones. It really would be.
yeah, exactly. You know, when you were in a situation and you didn't learn, you maybe initially you got kind of like the you know the sort of alerts and said, don't go there, but you went there anyway. And then what happened?
And then when I did anyway,
Yeah. Yeah.
then the consequence that I knew in the back of my mind was going to happen happened. You know.
Exactly. And so that negative consequence, this is the ethical manipulation of the universe to
Yep.
say, yeah, you go, here's your reward. You know, now you see, and it forces you out of it through pain and suffering and stress and unhappiness and whatever. Right.
Right. Well, see, because in a lot of ways, I do feel responsible for CJ getting suspended because of, you know, my supporting him, my telling him, yes, you do have a voice and you are allowed to use your voice,
Wow.
you know, but appropriately. But,
Wow.
you know, so he went ahead and tried, he let his ego go, and he, you know,
Wow.
we hadn't quite learned yet, both of us. So, okay.
What a magical lesson, right? But you see the negative consequence is
Yeah.
ethical manipulation from the universe.
Yeah. Well, you know, and it did cue me, I
Yeah.
would say, to shift, to understand, to ask, okay, what happened? What, you see, both of us took away the message initially that we're not supposed to speak up for ourselves, that that's what the school wants. And
Correct.
it's truly what they want. They don't want students to speak up for themselves.
Exactly. Now, look at the sophistication of the lesson in the bigger context. In your past, you didn't speak up yourself, and it caused you lots of trouble, right?
Right.
So the universe it gave you say, oh, you need to learn to speak up for yourself. But then the universe says, oh, you want to learn more. Okay. So now we're going to give you the opportunity to understand appropriateness, and when speaking up for yourself is inappropriate. You're getting both sides. It's not
Okay.
an either or, right? Yes, sometimes it is inappropriate and sometimes it's appropriate.
Okay. I get it.
This is the true understanding of context and appropriateness. The same behaviors, depending on the situation, could be either appropriate or inappropriate. Yes?
Okay. Same behaviors depending on the situation. Got it.
Yeah. And this is a powerful lesson because Sher's like, but you know what? I was screwed over in my early life by not speaking up. And now you're telling me I mustn't speak up? Like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
But that's
That's kind of my
exactly
question.
the point here. It's not a either or. Either or logic is what gets us to be in that gray world, right? It's black
Yes.
and white. It doesn't work. There's no colors. The universe is saying sometimes it's appropriate, sometimes it isn't. The skill is not to learn to speak up or not to learn to not speak up. The skill
Discernment.
is to learn to be appropriate.
That's where our discernment comes in.
Exactly. So you see what I'm saying, you're not learning to not speak up or to speak up. You're learning to be appropriate. Different skill. The universe wants you to be aware. And so that if you're aware, you can use the awareness to be appropriate. This is the point of awareness.
Okay.
The point of awareness is so that you know what is appropriate. And if you always know what's appropriate, life is freaking easy, 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 easy. Yes?
Yes. Point of
You
awareness.
see the thing that in your early life, you were being forced to learn a particular skill, or at least so you thought, but it wasn't the actual skill. The actual skill was appropriateness. Yes?
Uh-huh.
Not speaking up or not or keeping silent.
Okay.
Those are just temporary skills, right?
Right.
They're small bubble skills. Not in the big bubble. You got to use those as appropriate, like everything else. None of our qualities and abilities are in themselves either good or bad, like speaking up or not speaking up. It depends. It depends, right? We confuse these skills by when it is appropriate to think, oh, this is a good skill. It can also be a negative skill, as you and CJ have just found out.
Yeah. Yeah. And I know we had a choice. You know, I could have gotten hot headed and said, well, fine then, you know what, you're not going to that school anymore. And I could have pulled him out of homeschool, but that's not his choice. His choice is he wants to stay in school for the rest of the year. You know, and I guess we'll see what happens over the summer for next year.
Exactly. Here's where being impeccable is all about. You know,
Yeah.
you do what you do, you be impeccable, best use of energy. Now, look at CJ in that situation and yourself. What is the best use of your energy? Shut off all that inner commentary and chatter. It wastes your freaking energy.
It is.
You need that energy to deal with the petty tyrant. You don't have time for this, right? You don't have time for ego, energy. Look at all the energy that goes into the ego. No, I need to have my energy to be disciplined and to be forbearing and to be able to deal with this and to keep myself tight. This is what I need my energy for.
Okay.
Actually, this is a really cool thing here. Okay, so I'm just going to use something else here as an example that just because it's come up and it's very cool analogy.
Okay.
I'll show you in a second. Just pull it up here. All right. So this painting of Venus, yeah. So you know, it's just part of the course, and you know, anyway, long story. But anyway, she put it up, and there was a lot of discussion, what it is, what's this blue, and all this, right? So when in discussing it, I said, you know, it came to Bina in that sort of half sleep state, you know, between the state between waking and sleeping. So I said, treat it like a dream. And, you know, when it comes to dreams, you've got to feel them. It's not the interpretation and the symbols in this. It's, you got to feel what the dream itself was trying to say, or what it was about, or what the energy, the mood of the dream is. So she did the same exercise. I'm just giving a bit of background here, but it's not particularly relevant. Anyway, so when she went in and felt what this, you know, she had this vision of this picture of this image of this, and she painted it, right? And said, what is you feeling? Then it started to come, oh, it's like the long distance runner, the moment before they get to the finish line. So this blue is the finishing line tape. And you see the hands, they're running, but you know, it's a long distance runner, right? And
Okay.
it's right at that moment of getting to the finishing line, right? Where, when they stop running already,
Yeah.
their arms are still moving, but they've really stopped running. But it's about the psychology of the long distance runner. The long distance runner has to do exactly what we have been talking about. They have to go quiet inside, no commentary. Any commentary, any thoughts will suck their energy and they won't be able to long distance run, right?
Right.
See, so the more successful you can do that, the more energy you have to let the body. And there's it. You're just letting the body do its thing and it's running, and all you there is to occasionally, steer it here and there. Minimal use of energy. So the long distance runner is an excellent example of best use of energy, at least a good long distance runner, correct?
Right.
Right. So this was a fantastic example here. And look at that hand. That hand is also, it's kind of like, there's something, be aware of something. It's not trying to tell you something, which is, more of a finger. It's not saying, listen up, which is again, a kind of, it's saying there's more here, be aware. Right? Yes, it's a running hand, but it's also a hand that says, pay attention. There's more going on here. Yes.
Okay. Okay. I get
Minimal.
that.
So the whole point is that the same psychology of the and internal state of being of the long distance runner is precisely what CJ and you want to have in this situation. Yes.
Okay.
No commentary. To be doing the things that need to be done, which in this case is the math. In this case is complying with the unreasonable demands of the petty tyrant.
Okay.
Right.
And it doesn't mean that it's being weak. It's a strategy.
No, it's the reverse. Being weak is when you get bothered by it, because that's an ego issue. If you can just not be bothered, it's like, yeah, whatever. Like the long distance runner. It's sunshine, it's rain. Do they complain with the rain? No. Does that make them weak when they just endure the rain? No. It makes them actually strong, because it doesn't matter. It's irrelevant. Their job is to run. Your job is to get through this. Your job there is to do the math and learn it, and that's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Appropriate is what's okay.
Exactly.
Got it. I'm just writing this down real quick.
It's cool stuff. It's cool stuff. But the skill of turning off the inner commentary, boy, we start to see the world for what it really is, which is energy. When you do this fully, I mean, when you get to, like Zen level, master level, that kind of, that's what they're all talking about. When they talk about enlightenment and really see, that's when you completely turn off you actually stop the world. You don't see, you see energy directly, kind of, like behind me. That's sort of a pattern of energy there, right? You don't see it as houses or trees or people or whatever. You see energy. And so, but you need to turn off the description, which is the commentary, right?
Okay.
I'm just saying the end point of this is a very spiritual point. And it's why the hearing program, if you go right to the very end, you'll see it's a spiritual activity. When we learn to hear, the more we can hear, the more we are not talking inside. Right?
That's true. That is very, very true.
So it's why it is, it's also a spiritual course, the hearing and helping course.
Yes.
About energy management.
This, I love this last question. I swear this was like all perfectly timed. What capital D diplomacy efforts from the universe have I maybe missed? Well, here's a great big duh,
Yeah.
Now you see why I said this whole thing was perfectly timed.
Yeah.
When we went through some of these questions last week, I
Yeah.
thought I had an understanding, but I did not yet, not until Thursday and Friday.
Yeah.
Well, actually, not until today. And
Yeah.
now it makes a whole lot of sense to me.
Yeah. So I'm not sure where you're at in the questions, but yeah, I'm just noticing on the next thing to say, how do we use patience to be gentle?
Yes.
Now, this is for CJ, right? So in this no commentary, he's also going to be exercising capital P, patience, correct?
Okay. Yes, I agree.
And in the true exercise of this capital P patience, which means he has no animosity, he has no critique, no criticism, he has no commentary. He's not saying this is right, this is wrong, this is injustice. He's just there, completely neutral. This is being capital P patient, yes?
Okay.
Isn't that going to be gentle with the teacher?
God, I would hope so. And if it's
Yes.
not, we are leaving. If
Yes.
it's not, if it doesn't
Yeah.
go,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
obviously then a situation that is
Correct.
not a good fit.
Correct. But even if she doesn't change her behavior, it's still less stressful than him opposing her, which is a gentleness of itself. Yes.
Right.
Right. Yeah.
Well, this is something that
Now look at the previous question. Sorry, I think you may have missed the slide here.
no, how the universe has used ethical manipulation and cueing on me.
Oh, I'm on a different slide than you are for the questions here.
Okay. This was, let me see. It was maybe it was a real short one. Maybe I didn't get them all down.
That's all right. Did I screen share now?
Yeah, go ahead and screen share, could you?
Yeah. Okay, so I'm on the questions after the context section.
Let me
So
see.
can we cue an expectation of logic? Take any problem, list all the context, share some examples of how you perspective shifting on
Okay.
something said which is bothersome, right? So these all apply right to all of
Right.
them, but this is where the patience one are. But you know, when we are respectful to someone who is behaving poorly or caught in an immersion bubble, what are we respectful to?
Okay, that one, for some reason, I did not get that slide. That whole slide, I didn't get any of those.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I thought so. It's okay. It happens sometimes. You know, you click and you double click accidentally, and then you skip or whatever. It doesn't matter. So this is cool because this absolutely applies to the teacher here now. So ask these questions of CJ.
Okay, when are we respectful to someone who is behaving poorly? Or when we are respectful to someone who's behaving poorly or caught in an immersion bubble, what are we respectful to?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. The biggest thing I could say is the person in the context that they're,
Yes, you
giving
are
them-
being respectful to the fact that they are caught in a bubble. One
Yeah.
thing. You're
Yeah.
being respectful for the fact of this is an awareness issue. They don't know. So you are respectful of their deeper being a human being caught up in a bubble, in a trap. So when you go and try and free the wolf from the the bear trap that is caught in, or the fence that is caught in, right?
Right.
It
Well,
tries to bite your hand that's trying to free it.
Yes.
It
Yeah.
doesn't mean that you lose respect for the wolf, correct?
Right.
It doesn't know anything else. So we are being respectful to circumstance, to situation, to appropriateness, to awareness, to understanding, correct?
Okay. Okay.
So also we are being respectful to compassion. Yes. Now you have to be careful of showing compassion to bullies because they'll see it as a sign of weakness, right? And they'll just pile on and it will make them feel even worse. But man alive, how can you not have compassion for this poor teacher?
Okay.
Right?
Yeah. And then that's how
What
we,
a sucky place to be.
it is, because I've been there several times. I mean, when I've been trying, gosh, even like with Robbie or with Christina, even, before I finally had to make the decision to just cut that off.
Yeah.
I tried using patience. I didn't realize I was, but I tried to be gentle and patient. I tried to give her respect and understand that, gosh, you might have something going on that I'm just not aware of. Okay, so I'll give you space. But then she even came back with, I didn't need space. I just, I don't know what she wanted.
So when you're in a place that you've chosen to be, and it's
Right.
not a place to be, right? How does the universe let you know this in a gentle way?
It gives you adverse conditions.
Thank you.
Get adverse experiences.
Exactly. So now when you look at both the school and you look at Miles's, whatever his courses were doing.
Yeah.
On the surface, you had no way of knowing these were inappropriate places to be. Right? Take with Miles's course. It's a very good example. Right?
Yes.
It
Yes.
all sounded good and great.
Yes.
So even no matter how impeccable you were in looking at it, you didn't have sufficient information to be able to determine that it was not a good place to be.
Exactly.
But you got all these clues, and then it's the universe trying to tell you in a nicer way, here's information that you didn't have, and it's
Right.
saying, yeah, don't be here. This is going in the wrong direction. Now,
Right.
finally, but the whole thing, you kind of stuck it out, and you got to see the long distance, the long end results, and all of the stuff. So, what a fantastic lesson! You see how the universe is being diplomatic with you, via Robbie and everybody else. How cool is
Yeah.
that?
Yeah. I think that's a very good
Also,
example.
I mean, there's so many multiple lessons. The universe has got a zillion lessons. Look at this, my drawing behind me, right? Or
Uh-huh.
right? It's that's what a spiral, but the spiral can go either up or down. But look at all the little things that are included in this, right? So that was a spiral lesson that popped you out, but there was multiple lessons. For instance, that being in the whole mile situation made you able to be in this situation and understand it appropriately and have a contrast to be able to appreciate it. Yes.
Uh-huh. I agree. It did. It really did. Um, that picture behind you, by the way, the baskets that I make, I sew them and they look very much like that because they're sewed with scraps of material and they come out.
Oh, fantastic, fantastic,
Yeah,
fantastic.
they look just
Wow.
like. And I have to feed and wrap this rope, and I put fabric around the rope while I'm stitching it all together. And excuse me, and it turns out these spiral baskets that are really cool. Um,
Wow. Wow.
I'd like to
Wow.
now that I have time.
So you need to sell them as spiritual baskets.
You know what? I used to sell them, and I think I'm going to get back into selling them because they're really a pleasure to make.
Yeah.
Uh,
But also, when you sell them as a spiritual basket and now you got the story. Here's the thing. Yes, a basket is useful, but people don't buy things anymore to be useful because you can buy cheap shit that's useful, right?
you
So
can.
whenever you're paying a little bit more, what are you paying for? You're paying for the story. So when you sell the basket and the person buys it, and what is this? Oh, and look, see, and it's made this way, and it's this, and there's a story to it because it's the spiral of life, and it's how things teach us and learn, and there's more lessons and whatever. I mean, you can go crazy with it, right? And you can almost give every basket a slightly different story. Oh, mine is this and mine is that. And see, now people want to buy the story because that's what they tell their friends. This is what's important to them. The basket itself is unimportant. The
Yeah.
story is important.
Yeah.
So sell the story, don't sell the product. The product is just there for them to have an opportunity to be able to tell a cool story.
That is cool. I like
Yeah.
that. You wrote that down, by the way, because I've been kind of thinking of, okay, what can I do? But that's where I
Well,
am.
also the other thing that you can do is potentially be a homeschool teacher. I don't know if that's something you want to do, but think of it as coaching kids. But now you're just including, school curriculum.
Yeah.
The school curriculum part, they pretty much can teach themselves.
Yeah.
All you're there really is just to supervise. You
Uh-huh.
know, that's it. You're just there to provide structure and continuity and okay, what are we learning? What did we learn? What have we learned? What was the exercises? And that's it. You're just there, like for instance, when we did the Zooms with Miles, right? And they had and I said, don't be a leader, switch it up to just you, the one who's just the one who's facilitating, and you say, okay, you speak now, and that's it, right?
I
This is
remember.
what you want to do with the kids, right? You're just there to provide order and structure. And not in a disciplinarian way, but in an encouraging, supportive way. Okay, yeah, what do you think of this? And okay, how do you think? Oh, you know what? CJ's struggling with this. Johnny, what do you think? How did you figure this out? Oh, and then Johnny explains. CJ says, okay, I get it. Or he doesn't get it from Johnny, but he gets it from Sarah. Multiple perspectives. Boy, I've seen when kids do this, when a bunch of kids get together to try and help the kid that's not getting it, one will explain and then it doesn't work. And then the next one and the next one. Anyway, I get it now. This is fantastic learning.
Yeah.
So if they motivated to learn the subject matter, You don't need to do anything except facilitate. Yes.
Yeah, I think that sounds like a good idea too.
But and you could and you charge for this, of course, right?
Yes, of course.
And then you can introduce life lessons because they're going to come about when you just explain, oh, look what we're doing. We're perspective shifting. Ah,
There we go. Yeah.
it comes organically. You don't have to have an agenda to do this. You're automatically going to be doing this. You just have to name that app with yourself.
There you go. I like that.
Very
Name
simple,
that.
very simple.
I like it. Okay, I wanted to go back to that other slide. You had a couple other questions on there. I'll write them down, but can you pull that one back up?
So patience is being gentle with this, with the BMN, they're petty tyrants rather than BMNs.
They are.
They're in an impossible situation that they need to be petty tyrants. So their gentleness is
hearing. Yes.
Yeah.
Can we use hearing to facilitate understanding for another of contextual perception? Okay.
Yeah.
Can we use hearing to facilitate understanding for another of contextual? I don't follow that question.
Okay. Yeah, it's a bit it's kind of condensed. So can we use hearing to facilitate understanding in somebody else?
Okay.
To get them to understand contextual perception.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, this is a very this is a deep skill here we are looking to do. Yes. So okay, not something necessarily CJ might at this stage be implementing, but still, if you really hear this teacher and you spending time with her where you can hear her, right? Like if she were a client now, or she just came around to the house on a more regular basis or whatever, right? And she's going to start to see that when you hear and you give the responses back that demonstrate your hearing, that you are actually perceiving contextually.
Okay.
See, so you aren't saying this is contextual perception. You just demonstrate it. And they will then, oh, wow, they're understanding me in a very different way, right? And now you are using your hearing to communicate and facilitate their understanding of contextual perception. You aren't telling them contextual perception is this, this, and this by the demonstration of it, right?
Okay.
Because you say, oh, I hear this, and then okay, say, wow, if we look at it from another angle, this is what you're saying. When you come at it from the other angle, then you saw this. Oh, and then you see, oh, and then you see, wow, it's different. Context makes a difference here. For instance, like when it comes to speaking up or not speaking up. Yes, the context. Okay.
Yes, that would make sense. Okay.
So I was just listening to you and I just shared back to you about, the speaking up or not speaking up, how it is, because, the contextual perception makes a difference to that understanding. And then you put it together and say, okay, I see now, right? For you, speaking up was a big issue. But now the big issue is not speaking up. It's all about contextual perception, correct?
Okay. Yeah.
You see? And I was just hearing you. I didn't come with a pre-assigned agenda to try and communicate contextual perception. It just came about from listening to you, what was going on with you. See?
Yeah.
And you got into an understanding of contextual perception. So,
yeah. Okay. All right. I'm good.
Yeah, very cool. Very cool stuff. Very cool stuff. Okay, so this comes to the next section. I love this. These questions are incredible to me, how absolutely pertinent they are right now. So I would really recommend that you give these exercises to CJ as best he can do them. Again, tell him, look, this is black belt stuff and you're a white belt and you're just going to do as best you can. That's it. It's very simple, right? And so there's no getting it right here. There aren't right answers for anybody. Even the black belt, there are no right answers. The issue is to make as best effort you can. Making the effort is the issue that you are learning to do.
Yes.
Not getting it right, not answering the question. It's about developing the ability to actually make the effort. Yes?
Yes. I believe so. I believe so. And that's all I'm asking him to do is just, try to make that effort. So
Exactly. And the more you make the effort, the more you train your muscles, correct?
yeah,
And the
exactly.
more you train the muscles, the greater a variety of options the muscles have.
Yeah.
Yes?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, look at
Okay.
your writing, right? When you wrote Ugly, you were training your muscles. Now your muscles have a whole range of options to choose from, correct? Because you've been practicing.
Yeah, absolutely. And I kind of feel a little off because I haven't written anything in the last
It's a drug. It's a drug. It's a drug.
year. So I do. I just feel off
You've
because I haven't
become
been
an
writing.
exceptionally good writer. I told you long time ago when you first started writing, I said to you, you're a good writer. You remember that?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But I just, and it's not because I haven't had anything to write. It's just when you're not feeling good and when
Correct,
you're
correct.
so
It's energy. I would recommend do not write until when you have the energy. Always write only when you really feel like it, when you really want to. And then
Yep.
it's always magical. When you're
Yep.
doing it when it's a grind, no, don't do it. Don't do it. It's counterproductive in association management, right? It's
Yeah.
counterproductive.
I
You
haven't
want
had
to do
it
it.
like this
And
in a
that's the key. That's the key. That's the key for CJ.
yeah.
He has to want to do this, like the undercover agent who wants to go to jail.
Yes.
He has
He
to
did like
want
the
to
idea
do
of the
this.
undercover agent. He chose the character of from one of the guy Will Smith in Men in Black. So that's kind of how that's the persona
Yeah,
he's
but see, that's not really the guy. Will Smith in Men in Black is a very cool figure. More would be the character in Shawshank Redemption.
yeah. Well, that's
He
not a
wasn't even
movie.
an undercover agent; he was a prisoner.
Right, but that's not a movie that he can see. So, um, I don't know. It's just one of those ones that's a little much for him
All
right
right.
now.
Well, I don't know. Maybe some other movie where the guy's going in there, but typically the movies are all about hierarchy. They don't really show you. I know Forrest Gump might be a better movie, but still, it's all about ego. I don't know. It's very hard to find movies that are truly about humility
Yeah,
and
true.
about being letting go of the ego completely. They're almost impossible to
Gandhi,
find.
he can watch that one.
Which one?
Gandhi.
Gandhi. There you go. That'd be a good one to watch. Yes.
Huh?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And
And I have
Gandhi is the most success. Tell him you're gonna share a movie to him about the most successful freedom fighter ever in the history of the world.
yeah,
Pictured that way. Very, very important. Yes.
most successful freedom fighter. I like that.
Right. Because he's going to think, oh, some tough guy and Rambo or whatever. And no, he's in for a surprise. And
Yeah.
this is going to change his perspective, right?
Yep.
You say Gandhi is by far the most successful freedom fighter ever. It's like, hello, shit. Yeah, Right. So
Yeah.
yeah, cool movie for him to watch. A movie about you gotta build it up a little bit because you want to pop that bubble, right? Most successful freedom fighter ever. Yeah, okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can do that.
Because he's expecting an action movie, fighting and wars and all this, like Ukraine and freedom fighters and all this. Yeah. And they'll learn from Gandhi.
And the
That's why
fun thing
I told you
about
before, Mandela knew all about Gandhi and he didn't follow Gandhi's example. And I hold this against him, even though he turned out to be a good guy in the end. He was an absolute jackass in the beginning, Mandela.
yeah. Well, the interesting thing about Gandhi though is that they were throwing, they would line up. They actually lined up, and they would get hit and caned and bricked.
Yes.
And then they would fall down and get back up and go to the end of the line and come
Yep.
back for more. And the
Yep.
whole time, you're right, whole time, no inner dialogue. They just did it.
Exactly.
Wow.
Exactly. So watch the movie with him and play Name That App.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Name that. All right.
Yeah, like you just said, they switched it off. And also, they did it willingly. Willingly. This is the key. When we put our will into things, yes, when we want to do things willingly, right? Why is the word willingly? Because your will gets involved and your will is very potent.
willingly. This is choice. Okay. And he is choosing this. So, okay.
But also it engages the will.
Okay.
Now he's been willful in the negative sense, which is
Yeah.
what's getting him into trouble. See?
Okay.
So this is about appropriate usage of your will. Don't waste your will on petty ego battles. They're going to not work for you. And
Okay.
everybody loses in an ego battle. Same
Appropriate.
thing as in real war. Everybody loses in real wars. There are no winners.
No, there's not.
Gandhi was making this very, very clear. And the fact that they weren't fighting in the regular sense completely delegitimized the British position.
Yeah, because they're
When
like,
you
"What?"
fight back, like I said, the moment you shoot at me, I'm legitimized.
And he fought back. That was the thing. He didn't speak
Right.
back. He fought back. Okay.
Exactly, exactly. And so you legitimize the battle. The moment
Okay.
you start fighting back, you legitimize the battle. As simple
Got
as
it.
that. Like I said, Granny in Ukraine. I'm the innocent Russian soldier. I'm saying, sorry, Granny. You know what? You're gonna shoot me. I'm gonna shoot you. Too bad. Sorry. I know you're innocent. I know this is wrong, but I'd rather live with wrongness than be dead.
Right. Well, there was I don't know if you saw it or not. There was one video of an elderly woman. She had a pocket full of sunflower seeds and she gave a sunflower to one of the Russian soldiers. And she's like,
There you go.
they were like, well, why are you giving us this? And she said, because, that way when you're in your grave, you could, if we bury you with these seeds, then something good will come of this.
Right. But if the Russians, if the Ukrainians take Putin can't do this without the soldiers. If they had won the hearts and minds of the soldiers and say, look, here we go, we're not going to fight you, but we don't want you here at the same time. What you're doing is wrong. Pass it up the chain. As soon as that command structure breaks, Putin has no control. So, there's other ways to fight wars. This is exactly what happened in India. You can't do this. It doesn't work. You have no legitimate power. And then the whole thing collapsed and imploded. So.
Okay.
Fantastic. Yes. You're talking about the Gandhi with Ben somebody.
Yes. I know who you're talking about. Yeah.
He played the lead role. What's him? Ben Kingsley?
Ben Kingsley. Yeah.
Yeah. That's the one. That's the one I'm thinking of too. And that's where he learns to ride trains in South Africa.
Uh-huh.
I always joke about that.
Okay. I will talk to you then on Wednesday, or if not sooner.
Again, that's a beautiful lesson of appropriateness by Gandhi. And his bubble awareness, right? He wasn't being clever. He wasn't being, he was just being stupid there. What the hell did you expect but to get kicked off the train? It's like, his ignorance got him. And, he's sort of an arrogance in a sense too. Yeah. He didn't pay attention to the circumstance and the situation.
But
Like
then he
Venus
did.
know your audience.
Yes. Yeah, he used that as a lesson and, he worked it out for himself. And he's like,
Exactly. In other words, that direct resistance and insisting on what's being right. What happened? You got your ass literally kicked off the freaking train.
Yep.
So great movie to watch with him. Yes. Fantastic.
All right. Okay. I think I know what my task is for today.
Again?
All right. We'll talk to you soon. So
yes,
thank you.
yes. I love it, Sher. I love it. Very cool. All right, bye-bye.